Girl.
Oh, what done happened now?
It's too much.
Oh.
It's just too much. It's always something like, is it never enough?
Oh.
It's never enough. I swear. I have had it up to my 12.5-foot flood line with fucking City Hall. They're the cause and effect of us watching our city fall. Now they're working on being the reason we see it laid to rest. I just want to lay my man to rest. I'm already pressed. I'm pregnant. And here they go giving me unnecessary stress. I started this morning with the promise to myself that there's no way I'd be allowing anyone else to take away my joy. That today I'd begin to trust in goodness despite of all this shit around me bad. And if this happened to be my last day, then at least I had begun. And one thing I know is there's no beginning too small. Then I had to go down to fucking City Hall.
Oh, Lord.
Through all my other tasks today, I managed to maintain my religion. Talking to my mother-in-law, enduring all her bitching. Her daughter, sisters, all up in my kitchen, sweating how I'm living, but that's his mama now. So I smiled and pretended to listen. Then later at the funeral home, I bit my tongue some more. Bossy ass lady determined she gonna run my show. Now elders sometimes think young folks ain't entitled to what we know, so I had to let her know. I spoke to her softly with sugar in my throat, but I left her with no doubt I'm playing this here note. It's my song that goes. Then I had to go to school for my son. That was real hard for me. Because it made me think of his daddy. You know how he was so funny. He liked to come to the meetings and do all the speaking. Like to watch the looks in the teacher's eyes go from contemptuous to surprise as he dropped gems from his mouth full of platinum. He used to say, "Come on, babe, let's go over there and academize him." He was so silly, but my man was smart. Ooh, but wait, let me not start thinking about him. That might not end. So I picked up Lil D's makeup work on my way to safety and permits. Had to get to submit some forms the bands needed to play, because yesterday in front of his mom and them house, they was getting fucked with by Squale, fucking new ass neighbors. They don't speak, just peek from behind their blinds and form neighborhood associations. Everybody ain't invited to join. Want to figure out how to get you out so they can get their property values up. Don't give a fuck that we was already a neighborhood before they asses got here. And for 300 years, this how we associate in these streets, where everybody can come. So when this dumb fucking man gonna stand in front of me and say that the permit is $4,000, first I laugh. Boy, you so crazy. Then I holler, woo, child. But he didn't blink an eye. I felt my humor die and my fury rise. My words were burning up from the fire in my throat. I started to choke. Next thing I knew, I done clicked out. Only thing kept going through my mind was $4,000, $4,000, $4,000 for what? To cry? To breathe? $4,000 for my son to believe his daddy's life meant something in his community? $4,000 to dance? $4,000 to grieve, to fucking make music? Ooh. Girl, I looked down and found my leg was jumping. $4,000 for something they should be paying us to do? Right. How many of their livelihoods is based on what we do? How many taxes collected? How many departments in this fucking building? How many reasons for rebuilding? How many hotels and clubs? How many festivals and parades? How many holidays? How many restaurants, tourist boards, planning commissions? How many councilmen's fundraisers and CEO daughters' weddings? How many photographers' bread and butter? How many filmmakers' wet dreams? Child, without knowing how I got there, next thing I knew, I was up on the counter talking about $4,000 to build economy and industry. Who knew that one day, baby, they'd actually put a price on your long days and your longer nights? $4,000 for your busted feet and your varicose veins. $4,000 for your exhausted mornings and your random pains. And to think of how often you did it for free. Because you love the music, and you love the children, and just fucking because. Ooh, I dance for you, baby. Footwork for the $4,000 you didn't charge. To carry your ass from a 6 a.m. appearance on Sally Ann to an 8 a.m. ambassador's reception, and then the men's press conference at 10, a noontime second line, a 6 o'clock parade, 2 clubs and a party before you get to go to sleep, but next month before you get to get paid. $4,000 to take blame for the violence rooted in the poverty that policies instituted. It's amazing the music don't get faulty with the backdoor deals at their cocktail parties. That's why I don't want to have this baby without you, babe. This city is too mean. This world too hateful, full of gluttons for the soft goodness of our child to exist without your protection. But no justice, no music, baby. If we can't play for you, if we can't play for ourselves, we won't play for none of their asses at all. But best believe, no matter what they do or what they say, I'ma show them better than I can tell them on your funeral day, I don't need no fucking permit.
Ooh. Whew. I think you need a drinker.
Bert,
I got it.
Ooh, nice breeze out here today. Boy, get on down from there. You can fool around and hurt yourself. Hey, Ma, who that is? Get down. Oh, that old buckethead boy. Bad ass children she
Who
got.
are you talking about? Huh?
Them bad ass children you got. Dad, look at that boy over there. Hey, lady, how you doing, Dad?
Did you make your gumbo yet?
No, baby, I ain't got no pot.
Oh.
Where's
What
she
you
at?
say now, Miss Clotilde?
Hey. Well, why you don't have a pot? Cause that heifer back there took my man and my pot.
Ooh,
Now get double pot too. She can keep the man, but I need my pot.
So we need some gumbo this weekend. Give her a pot back.
Magna lights
I'd
too.
rather give it a man.
Whew. Hey, baby. Good seeing you. When y'all got back? You know, I never really did like to talk too much, me, myself. I rather let the story speak for itself. And baby, see around here? There's plenty of story to be telling and a living, huh? You know, your street is just like your front room. Like a wide front room, and we all up in here together, just like your family. 'Cause we really lives together. And just like you can't choose your kin, you can't choose your neighbors. At least I never could. If I could've, you know what? I sure would choose some of these folks around here. But thinking about it, most of them, I'd have chosen. I sure would right now. I'd choose them again.
Busy schedule. Running here, running there, now. And I'm finally settled. Finally back doing poetry, finally able to just reach out to God.
I'm busy. I hear worried, loud whispers of a hurricane supposedly heading our way. Hurricane? What hurricane? Where? Oh, I'm busy. I'm running here, running there, too busy to even put on the TV. Hurricane? Where? Oh, child, we done had that scare before. It won't happen. I'm busy. Now I'm driving to church and I see lines of cars stretching from one gas station to another. What's with these people? What are they worried about? The storm will surely turn.
I was in yoga class at the neighborhood gym. Only 3 women were there for the usually packed class. The instructor teased us. "What are y'all doing here? Just had to get your yoga on, huh? Why aren't you evacuating?" One of the women got really upset. She sounded a bit offended. She said she worked for the Times-Picayune and she was not allowed to evacuate. I thought about her later. Turns out, our yoga instructor was a hurricane whiz. She was one of those people that follows the storm. From its very early appearance in Cuba or wherever, and predicts where it's gonna hit. She said, "We are not going to get it. It's going to turn east. The pressure or the winds will push it east, and we won't get a direct hit. The storm will surely turn."
All right, do I go to Toys R Us for Emily Claire's birthday present, or are we evacuating? I really didn't want to leave, but I had a baby and a toddler, so there was just no question. So I went home and I nursed, and I very reluctantly started to pack. I took photographs of my grandparents that I still needed to scan, and my baby's photo albums, and I put them on top of the dining room table, just in case. I put my laptop there too.
Well, you know what I took? I took my college diploma, a pair of shoes, a bra, and I took some lingerie and my resume, and of course my pocketbook and my teeth.
Some rotting fruit, a skirt that needed sewing, the new Harry Potter book, a pair of sparkly flip-flops that would be my only shoes for months, 2 cargo pants that were too big for me, basically nothing. Nothing.
I bought some silly stuff, but it all came in handy. I had a paper fan from a wedding, 2 copies of the Pirates of the Caribbean, love that movie, a big orange comforter. Now that paper fan gave us a little air while we sat on the floor of this overcrowded medical center that had become St. Bernard's evacuation facility. Those 2 movies, well, it helped me stay connected to my old life while I waited in misery. Missouri. Waiting to go back to St. Bernard. Now, after we were rescued, that big old orange comforter saved my mama's life. We wrapped her up in it, and on that bus, bus ride from St. Bernard to Denton, Texas, while we waited on that bus for 5 hours just to be processed. That comfort her chills that came with 103-degree fever. And we waited for that Monday to find out she just had pneumonia.
Well, I took absolutely nothing. Well, now, that's not entirely true. You know how your mom always advised you to make sure you have clean underwear when you're leaving the house? Well, I did make sure I changed my underwear because I just didn't know how long the drive would be.
We heard on the news that the hurricane had veered to the right. So we held a prayer service that night to give thanks to the Almighty for once again saving New Orleans. We had a communal feast to thank the ancestors for their intervention. Oh, we ate and sang and danced in celebration. Even my son showed up that night and we had a hurricane party. Now we all went to sleep that night knowing we would be home soon.
I took my name. The smell of my neighbor's sweet olive, the sounds of the school at the end of my block, the feel of the breeze from my backyard, and the taste of red pepper, the sights of full trees on Bird Island, trees full of blue and green heron, ibis, and inga, and egret. I took with me these things, and the names of my neighbors, and the way the streets were spelled.
I told my baby, let's go to Walmart so we can get some stuff just in case, I lost electricity and I couldn't cook.
So you know we could get those snacks and some junk food, and of course y'all needed my Bud Light. So when we got to Walmart, it was crowded. Once inside, the shelves were bare.
About 6 o'clock the next morning, my sister was getting ready for work when my niece called and told her to turn on the TV. Now my sister, she immediately woke me up and told me to come to the front room because she had just got word that the levees had broken and water was pouring into New Orleans. Levees? More than one? How could that be? Oh, and I had to step over about 30 people who were all asking me, what's going on? What are you doing? Why are you stepping on me? Why are you turning on the TV? Shh! The levees broke!
And then it happened. The voice came over the loudspeaker saying that Walmart will be closing at 4 o'clock p.m. because of the hurricane. Walmart closing? I didn't even think they had a key. And that's when I got it, y'all. Walmart closing.
Before the storm, I had a home full of things. My things, full of African art and books, full of history and love before the storm. Before the storm, I had a convertible that made me feel free, younger than my years and unrestricted by time and people and politics. Before the storm, I had a job that I loved and though somewhat rigid, professionally and emotionally unyielding, it defined me. Before the storm. Before the storm, I had neighbors older and whiter than I, distant yet cordial. We had little in common, you see, but they were my neighbors and I loved them. I know this now because I miss them. Before the storm, I had a friend who was ill. She meant the world to me. That's why I left 6 days before the storm to be with her in New York City. There, at her bedside. We watched as the storm took my city, my livelihood, my neighbors, my home. She died that day as Katrina roared. It's been raining ever since.
You could tell who we were those first days wandering in Walmart, those glazed looks in our eyes. The very first day was just to get minor supplies like chips and toothpaste, stuff that we forgot to pack, just for a couple of days. Next, it was wandering through all the aisles, realizing that everything, all of it was gone.
Yeah, my friend Harry, she went to Walmart and saw that same thing. But you know what? She was avoiding that pet aisle because she just might collapse and puke right there in the store for the horror of what her pet was living through if alive at all. The constant agony of not being able to retrieve her dog, Curry, was injurious to her mental and physical health. When she returned to New Orleans on the 14th of September to rescue cultural items created by her husband, the late Big Chief Donald Harrison Sr., he was the founder of the Guardians of the Flame Mardi Gras Indian group, and stuff that her mother had made. That was the late man Pendleton Johnson. But seeing Curry was uppermost in her mind. Unfortunately, retrieving Curry at that time was made impossible by the barbed wire to deny her access. Well, her Curry, he's now in Minnesota. And the woman who adopted him refuses to return him. The animal shelter that participated in his care agrees that he should not be returned. Oh my goodness, this ordeal has left her with an irreparable broken heart.
Boy, you could tell who we were, even later, because it was on our faces. No matter where we happened to find shelter, people just knew. Oh, y'all remember when we were at the laundromat and how we knew each other?
Yeah.
Because how we Sniffed our laundry, whoo, sniffed it in a serious way to see if that smell had come out. And then the new greeting protocol would begin. Where y'all from? Where you evacuate? How much water you get? Girl, you got homeowners? Did a tree fall on your house? Woo, you lucky! That's some good homeowners there. I wish a tree had fallen on wow. But you could tell we were from New Orleans or Plaquemines or St. Bernard Parish. Even if you were one of the lucky ones, lucky enough to have a credit card, lucky enough to be able to find some place to stay that wasn't a shelter. We were the lucky ones. Who got out? Who had cars and gas money to leave? Had guilt too. Watching on TV those not as lucky as you. Wondering about our neighbors that didn't get out, who couldn't make it to their attics. My neighbors who did, it turned out they ended up dead and mummified by the mud. They were not found for 4 months because they were elderly and foreign without close family. The markings on the door indicated no bodies, but it was wrong.
Spent all night watching the stars, couldn't sleep away. How they shivered in the moonlight, what a beautiful sight I think. Sun coming up, beaming on my face. It's the day I think. And there's water all around me, but I can't get a thing to drink. It's thick in the water. In the sky, please come and take me away to be rocked and save these arms again. Can't make it another day. But he stares and takes a picture and leaves me here to stay. Won't thy servant save me for thy mercy's sake? It's thick in the water. It's thick in the water. Now I'm staring at the distance in this dark and threatening ocean, praying that I'll see another day. It's thick in the water.
Hey, baby. Come down a little closer. A little deeper. Want to touch me, don't you? Want to see what really happened. You can't imagine, so you've come to see all for yourself. And if I give way, the party continues while you count bodies or trailers or tarps or whatever it is you do down here. We'll entertain you with a song, a dance, some good food, and a smile. Say, boy, hey, girl, come touch this. Touch my disaster. We are reeling with the feeling, baby. Don't get no more real than this. Buy a second home down here. Drive the prices up. For those who lived in old Orleans, we have moved on still know how to cook that good food and sing that song. They're just doing it someplace else. Touch my wounds. Lift my shirt. Look at my scar. Whisper behind my back about my delusional state. The fact that I think I might just survive this, feel my pain. Imagine it and cry yourself to sleep at night. Give yourself something to cry about. I got plenty extra.
I can't dance. Don't ask me. My body too tired, soul too weary, heart too heavy. I can't dance. Don't ask me. I can hear the rhythm, feel the beat. Is it a two-step? Or is it a waltz? Or is it a jig? I can't dance. Don't ask me. Who leads you? Who follows? You or me? Is it a solo piece? I can't dance. Don't ask me.
I don't know when I lost my Katrina look, but I did. My mom still has it 2 years later, and she still cries every morning. She's afraid. She doesn't know how to start over at her age, although many others seem to manage. She doesn't know how. Katrina has taken her brain, her face, along with her job, her car, the house she grew up in, her stuff. Well, sometimes I get impatient. It doesn't matter where we keep the fork that we use to feed the cats their wet cat food. But to her, every little loss, every little thing out of sync, out of schedule, unwelcome and unexpected is Katrina.
At the center of a kiss, New Orleans sits, a place of mingling tongues. The merger of gulf and river, a mean mouth moan, obliteration, liberating an incantation that has been known between water and rocks since before there was an ocean. An incantation learned by the boats, taught by the water, taught to birds and everything that floats, can all be obliterated with the flick of a tongue. Forgetting, forgotten, removed from recognition, a subsonic submersion slipped off the tongue like a ring slipped off a finger. Oblivion was a word my father used often. It slipped off his tongue like something bad, like something spit. Oblivion was a place a person could end up if they weren't careful. As a small child, I imagined oblivion as a white noise world, like the absent picture on our TV set when the channel wouldn't come in, a kiss closed off from connection, a world full of holes like lace. But now I've learned oblivion can be like the plaster dust from a newly repaired ceiling. Covers things I don't wish to forget, covers them with powdered sugared speech and pretends to be sweet, covers up not just one channel, but a whole place. Welcome to ubiquity, a triple-tongue double-speak indemnity called news coverage and media report, where mouths have mood swings and truth is a liability. It's hard to imagine that 9 billion could just disappear. Yet as April 2007 wrote home has only settled 13,000 claims. Where did the other 8 billion go? Newscasts, twist images, and tongue-together statistics. Words can capsize under the weight of a kiss. Just look at Judas.
I mourn the loss of lush green neighborhoods and solitude.
Eric, 3, who stayed on Independence Street.
I mourn the loss of my job and all the students I used to teach.
Jasmine, 6, who stayed on Carline Street.
I mourn Tony and Deborah and my kid Chakula, my friends who no longer live here.
Carrie, 3, who stayed on Northgate Drive.
I mourn the cancellation of my belief.
Brittany 4, who stayed on Sheffman Tour Highway.
I mourn the loss of a place to put my toothbrush, the shelves for my books and my living room carpet. I mean, I know it's a stupid thing to mourn, but still.
Jamisha 7, who stayed in a New Orleans East townhouse.
I mourn the loss of my china, my grandmother's crystals, and the patterns like a parking spot that used to hold my life together.
Daralika 3, who stayed on the Marigny side of Frenchman.
I mourn the schools, the churches, and all the front doors that aren't open anymore.
Serena 5, who stayed on General Ogden Street.
All these names are important to me because I don't remember names easily. I instead carry faces in the cradle of my heart. Names are important. I want to keep calling them on my tongue.
Lord, I cannot take it. This pain that's growing in my brain, Lord, I feel as if I'm losing my faith. Well, I'm losing the ability to pray. I mean, every time I get in my prayer position, not a word comes out of my mouth. But I know you didn't bring me this far to leave me. Oh, I was in the store the other day. Lord, I was feeling real, Lord. I just began to sing. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Look, it was a simple song. Oh, but it symbolized my life. Now the next week, I could not pray. Ooh, but when I was feeling down and out, look, I danced to one of my praise songs. I don't feel no waste time.
Well,
I've come too far from where I started from. And nobody told me this road would be easy, and I don't believe he brought me this far. Ooh, don't believe he brought me this far. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
Right, that's right.
Look, today I was patiently waiting on God to give me the ability to pray.
He coming.
And as I waited, when I say the pain was gone and I had not prayed. Oh, as I was singing, God moved the pain that was in my brain down my head and out of my mouth.
come on.
That night I was in my living room. I danced so hard. Every piece of clothing I had on was dripping wet. I realized that I can pray, just not in a prayer position.
Hey, he heard you.
It's true. They shoot people in New Orleans.
Oh, I've been shot more times to remember.
Oh, me too.
And many others who call New Orleans home.
I mean, life is difficult and downright terrifying. You're always fearful of being unexpectedly shot at any minute. I mean, you never know when they're aiming your way. I mean, it's real horrible when you stop and think about it, never knowing when it's going to happen. Will I get shot coming out my front door to check the mail? Bending over to tie my shoe? Oh, being kissed hello or goodbye by my lover.
Visiting my father's final resting place.
Licking lipstick off my teeth.
Adjusted my bra.
Discreetly dislodging a wedgie.
I mean, pulling a tampon out of my purse.
I mean, bitch, I'm sick and tired and burn. Stuff happening around here.
Shedding a tear at a friend's life celebration.
Dancing free at a jazz funeral.
Listen, you just never know when you're gonna be shot. People are eager to catch us in the act of being a New Orleanian. It's like big game shooting or hunting. It's exotic, exhilarating, the subject of cocktail chatter and one-upmanship.
I shot Charmaine Neville at Schwegman's in the 80s.
Well, I shot Fats Domino at the Dewdrop Inn in the 1950s.
Yeah. Shit, that's nothing. I shot people on their rooftops after Katrina let them break.
Oh yeah. Well, I shot people at the Superdome. A group went into the kitchen, got some food out of the freezer. I got them. Another group broke into liberated food from a snack machine. I got them too.
I know this young white guy. He got shots at dead people. Elderly ladies stooping to try to use the bathroom in privacy. He said he was able to zoom in and get the gray hairs on their vaginas as the concentrated yellow piss dripped out. Shot before they could react.
Now that's nasty.
New Orleans is a great place to go shoot. It is the murder capital of the country. The place where people are shot to death.
The type of death that systematically and methodically takes away your identity, your dignity, and spirit to reduce you to a nameless, faceless, to statistic, exotic, cultural phenomenon, or meaningless demographic.
Black boy dancing shoeless at the jazz funeral of two buffets. Black Mardi Gras Indian chief. Black second line dancer. Black children play in poor New Orleans neighborhood. The cycle continues. Instead of making unshared wealth off of enslaved individuals, some now make unshared wealth off of the images of the descendants of the enslaved. Will it ever end?
Didn't it rain, children? It rained all night long. Didn't it rain, children?
It rained all night long.
Didn't it rain, children?
It rained all night long.
Didn't it rain, children? Didn't it
Rained all night long.
Didn't it whiz blow, children?
It rained all night long.
Didn't it whiz blow, children?
It rained all night long.
Didn't it whiz blow, children?
It rained all night long.
Didn't it rain, children? Didn't it
Rained all night long.
Didn't that storm come, children?
It rained all night long.
Didn't that storm come, children?
It rained all night long.
Didn't that storm come, children?
It rained all night long.
Didn't it rain, children? Didn't
It rained all night long.
Didn't that flood come, children?
It rained all night long.
Didn't that flood come, children?
It rained all night long.
Didn't that flood come, children?
It rained all night long.
Didn't it rain, children? Didn't it
Rained all night long.
Didn't it
Rained all night long.
Didn't it
Rained all night long.
Didn't it rain all night long? They stole my money. They stole my money.
Who, ma'am?
Them. Those so-called motherfuckers on that roof. They stole my money and they ran. But I found their ass up, right? All the way over there, on the other side of town, working on another job.
She took it. She took our ladder and we can't get down.
fuck you, and fuck you. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are trying to get away with it? Fuck you, and fuck you. You think you just can take my little money that I have to rebuild my home, my life, and just run off with it without completing the job? Fuck you, and fuck you.
Ma'am, you've got to put the ladder back. They got to get down. I know you're angry, but you have got to put it back, ma'am.
Fuck them, and fuck you too. I have had no less than 25 encounters with female employees, operators, caseworkers, torturer, or whatever the fuck you want to call them. I mean, I'm totally pissed off after each encounter. One of them bitches had the nerve to ask me, why don't you stay in Houston? You'll have a better chance to rebuild your life.
She did.
Better chance at what, bitch? New Orleans is my life. I speak New Orleans. I think New Orleans. I make groceries. I eat shrimp and oysters and Earl and I burl. Huh? I dance New Orleans. I think New Orleans. I eat New Orleans. I am New Orleans.
If I had a gun, I would shoot the FBA man. I'd shoot myself. I'd force my way on the O'Reilly factor. He's going on saying New Orleans isn't worth rebuilding. I'd make him take calls from New Orleanians on the air. If I had a gun, I would keep it under lock and key to protect myself and others from my rage. If I had a gun, I would sit outside the closet door where it is stored in a shoebox wrapped in old newspapers, waterlogged from Katrina, sitting on top of memories of my life, and guard it with my AK-47.
Right now, I am angry. I'm so angry, I could throw a chair through the window. I want to take a baseball bat and pummel the shit out of my window. The computer, my office supplies, my desk chair, the shelves, the lamp, the pictures. I want to put on boxing gloves and pummel the shit out of a punching bag. And then I want to rip it off. The chain that holds it to the ceiling and throw it on the ground and pummel and kick it some more. I want to take glassware and throw it against a brick wall. Oh, lots and lots of glassware. See it shatter and splinter. And then I'm going to take that bat and I'm going to crush it again and again and again and again until it's just dust. I am so angry that nothing in my life is happening. I can't move. I can't pay my bills as I need or want to. I can't have fun because I'm always working or commuting. I can't go to New York to see the color purple. I can't have an exit from my job or Baton Rouge. I can't go back to school. I don't know who I am, and I can't sleep. I can't lose weight because I have no time to exercise. I can't date because I'm old and fat and ugly. And I can't get a decent letter from my erstwhile boyfriend because He doesn't even want to be my friend.
If I had a gun, it would be something with a long barrel. You know, maybe perched at one of those gun shows, you know, advertised on bright green billboards with humongous black block letters, where families with Confederate values mill around before their weekend barbecues. Something with special features like scopes and silencers and hair triggers. Something I'd have to learn to take apart and clean and oil and put back together and buy special bullets for and polish every day. Something that would glint and shine above my living room mantle in the early morning light and just plain glow and golden sunsets. It would serve as my point of meditation. I would look at it and remember Harriet Tubman's steely whisper and Nanny's ear-splitting yell and Ida B. Wells' unrelenting voice and Fannie Lou Hamer's unwavering glare. I remember Nat Turner's plot and Toni Morrison's advice, and when I shot my gun, my target would be well planned, my aim precise, and I'd know exactly who to shoot, when, and where to shoot them, and how many of their friends needed to be shot too. Then when they were dead, when they were all dead, so would be oppression, globalism, neocolonialism, government, capitalism, enslavement, corporation, greed, hunger, hate, religion, war, poverty, cruelty. It can't be too soon for me the day I get my gun.
Somebody, everybody, should be more upset about the way they dying out here. My grandbaby, 15, died a month ago. They shot her in the head. While she was asleep in the car, a friend of her boyfriend got a ride with him, and then he went inside to get the rest of his stuff. And while they waited for him, up in the vehicle, some man came and just shot him. Her first, then him. He ain't died though. Heard the shot that killed her and turned his head in a way that the doctor said that saved his life. A lot of our family blamed him for Noonie dying, but I didn't though. Long as I've been on this earth, things like this happen. Ain't that boy's fault? I looked in his eyes and I see how much he loved that girl. Well, as much as a teenager know how. I ain't even all the way mad with the child that killed her. Yes, sir, I said he's a child too. But you know what I just can't fathom? I can't fathom why these children is killing each other. Shit, they don't even know anyway, themselves anyway. Now, when they caught that boy, 17 years old, he looked so blank in the eye, confused, sad, tired. And I wanted to talk to him. Yes, me, I wanted to talk to him. Like I said, just let the story tell itself. And the story, his story, was one big mumble. Mumbling mouth, mumbling eyes, whole mumbling body, arms and legs don't know what to do with themselves. Hands and feet all perplexed, not even matching his words. Now, my son, he couldn't figure out why or what I wanted to hear from this child. But after the storm, I felt like certain things should have changed with him, you know, as a people. I know if at my age I can be different than I used to be. Everybody should allow a little difference in their life. So I asked the people if I could talk to them. And they say, well, go ahead on. They let me. And the first thing I asked that boy was, why you ain't different? He asked me, from what? I said, from before. He asked, before what? I said, before the storm. He said, oh man, you know, why should I be? Ain't nothing else. Now I was quiet for a while, and then I asked. But I said to him, I said, I am. And he said, why do you want to talk to me, miss? And I answered him, I just want to understand something. Why we children is doing all this killing and dying? Miss, ain't nothing to be understood. In fact, Ma, ain't nothing to it at all. So I got specific. Why do you kill my grandbaby? And he started acting like somebody, you know, he was all nervous and folding and unfolding himself. Then he was real still for a long time. And he said, ain't no reason that'll make sense to you, Ma. No reason that's gonna make you any less sad or make them stop killing each other. Ain't no reason that'll make sense to you, Ma. No reason that's gonna make you less sad. No reason that's gonna make me get out of here. No reason that's gonna stop somebody else from killing or dying. All I can say is, when it happened, I felt real alone. Like my life and life period was just fucked up. Then I saw that cat sitting in his car. I used to know him from Bell School in Alvin. He always did think he was too much. And I looked at him, looking at his girl while she was asleep. And I started thinking his life was probably going real good. So I got mad. Not at him, at myself. But I didn't know how to kill me. I grabbed that boy's hand and I squeezed it. But he jerked it away from me and he said, get out here, old lady. Nigga ain't got time for this bullshit. I don't know why your old ass come down here nowhere. Say, bro, get me out of here with this old lady. So I left. I started cussing back at him to make him feel better. Now, I know hardness was all he had left to deal with murder in his heart. Still don't know what to make of it. Why their hearts, their hearts are just so hard and they ain't got nothing less than me have. Do they?
Within one neighborhood, we had
at least 9 stores selling cigarettes and liquor to anyone being children under the age of 19. They're not committed to the community. They just sell us junk for 2 years and then get rich and leave it to the next family member.
I mean, these store owners, they didn't leave, nor do they care. They knew they would have money coming in. They stayed and would sell people things that made them in distress. They sold them liquor. I mean, liquor is a depressant. Why would any human sell to another human something that could make them down in a time when they're already down and out? I mean, liquor was the last thing my people needed. We need prayer, and we needed God to hear our cry.
We all had to leave our city that we loved so much. Some of us had never been north or east or west. All we had ever known was here. When it was time for us to return, to our surprise, our city did not change. But soon as we got to Martin Luther King Boulevard, I turned left, and there to my right were all those store owners with their open lights on. Mm-hmm. Like a light, the light that says, if you are hopeless and in distress, come on in and drink until you drop dead. Mm-hmm. Question: why were these stores open before schools or churches or libraries or even hospitals? Hey, Mr. President, was there a liquor store in your neighborhood when you were growing up?
If I had a gun, I wouldn't want it.
Well, when you've had a gun pointed at your face before, guns take on a different connotation. I was young, so was he. He wore a mask. He wanted all the money out of the cash register. My hands were shaking. I was afraid he'd shoot because I was slow, because I was fumbling. All told, I've been robbed 5 times, once at the point of a gun. And every time when I would recount the robberies, the first question anyone would ever ask me wasn't how it had happened or how I was. The first question was always about color. Were they black? What I always wanted to know was, when did it start being about skin and stop being about the gun?
If I had a gun, it would be something with a long barrel. You know, maybe perched at one of those gun shows, you know, advertised on bright green billboards with humongous black block letters, where families with Confederate values mill around before their weekend barbecues. Something with special features like scopes and silencers and hair triggers. Something I'd have to learn to take apart and clean and oil and put back together and buy special bullets for and polish every day. Something that would glint and shine above my living room mantle in the early morning light and just plain glow and golden sunsets. It would serve as my point of meditation. I would look at it and remember Harriet Tubman's steely whisper and Nanny's ear-splitting yell and Ida B. Wells' unrelenting voice and Fannie Lou Hamer's unwavering glare. I remember Nat Turner's plot and Toni Morrison's advice, and when I shot my gun, my target would be well planned, my aim precise, and I'd know exactly who to shoot when and where to shoot them, and how many of their friends needed to be shot too. Then when they were dead, when they were all dead, so would be oppression, globalism, neo-colonialism, government, capitalism, enslavement, corporation, greed, hunger, hate, religion, war, poverty, cruelty. It can't be too soon for me the day I get my gun.
can't be washed away. So I'm going, I'm going back home. Well, I'm going, I'm going back home. I'm going back home. Well, I'm going back home.
I don't say shit.
Take my eyes, and I will hear the heralding sound of the brass band. Da-da-da-da! Hey! Feel the tremors of the ancient, though ever-present drums as I listen to heartbreak and the thought of hopes and dreams left behind in desperate efforts to hold on. Take my ears, and I will see my people dancing in the street, gathering together in fellowships at churches, mosques, at rivers, at Indian practice, and second lines, and on the home front, catching the spirit of life from each other while trying to invent possibilities out of less than nothing.
Come on, now.
Take my smell, and I will taste the wonderful goodness made from leftovers and throwaways turned into delicacies by Big Mama and Big Daddy's hands, and the creations of Nanti and Lil Mama's oven that calls children and friends from miles around to sample love's goodness. This is the ritual offering of food that becomes spiritual sustenance for the souls of my people. But I want you all to leave me my thoughts and my words and my voice so I could testify to the love I have for my people, the commitment I have for my city, and the determination I have to use my words and my works as tools, motivation, healing bombs, weapon, and testimony. That's the vision I have for my New Orleans.
At our address, we paint red, yellow, turquoise, and orange walls. We hang paintings and posters and pictures of Indian suits and instruments. We cook fried fish, jambalaya, yakame, and kawane. We play jazz, gospel, reggae, hip-hop, and spades. We make groceries, furniture, families, and sense. We make music and clothes and businesses and arguments. We make drinks and rents and festivals and clubs. We make jewelry, grassroots institutes, poems, and love, regardless of who is sitting on the sofa in the front room, whether it be a politician, pastor, policeman, or pusher.
Oh, I embrace Creole tomatoes and misbeliefs, otherwise known as Japanese plums, melatones and sassoons. I embrace my husband, who is my lover and my best friend. I embrace Royal Blends, Brave Mocha Lattes, and every Royal Blend employee, Robert, Sonora, TJ, and Marguerite. I embrace strawberry shredders with chocolate ice cream and smoothie cans. I embrace making groceries, crawfish burrows, and how your mama in them. I embrace cayenne pepper, strawberry festivals, and canoeing through the bayou. As long as you watch out for them alligators, child. Because you see, them tour guides, they like to feed them Twinkies so they'll get all up close and personal. I embrace that St. Charles streetcar I used to ride to work. I embrace my inner preschooler. I embrace crepe myrtles, live oak banana trees, and palmettos. I embrace that pecan tree in my art studio in my old backyard. I embrace old neighbors. The man who used to own the store on the corner of my block, and Travis with the portable basketball net. I mean, Travis would turn the whole street into a court for all the neighborhood kids. Fine as Travis. Carmen and her husband, who lived around the corner with Mickey, their chihuahua, Charlotte 2 doors down, who went back to their house that Sunday after she had discovered that the airport had already closed. I don't know what happened to my friends. The store on the corner of my block is closed, and Travis and Charlotte's house stands empty, and Carmen, her husband, and Mickey, I don't even know if they made it out before the water. I don't live in Mid-City anymore.
Because all broken things need some kind of embracing. I embraced the canal break that sent all that water rushing through my bedroom, bathroom, and living room. And I embraced the vocabulary of care that it takes to repair a levee. I especially embraced Lake Pontchartrain, especially because of everything that got drained back into it. After all the cars and gas grills and paint stores and Pep Boys and auto zones and pharmacies and gas stations and chemical plants and oil refineries went underwater. Now I embrace Grandpa Elliott almost every day, and I travel the city in search of parking, and I embrace and embrace and embrace, and I thank God I'm still here.
Before the storm, I thought I could count on my father if it came down to it. Before the storm, I knew where every single item in my house was. And I would get really, really bothered if something got scratched, broken, or went missing. Oh, before the storm, I thought nothing exciting ever happened in Lakeview. It's just a nice place to live. During the storm, something snapped in me, and I felt loosened. And I just don't care so much what people think of me, or what expectations people have of me, or I have of myself. During the storm, I felt this volcanic anger rise up from me, from deep, deep below, and it rose up in me, and it shot up right through me, and it gave me strength. A deep anger that involved no yelling, no screaming, no frustrations, annoyances, or nagging. I looked at my husband and I thought, I'm not afraid of losing him. Then I looked at my husband and I thought, what an incredible man. I realized lost cause relationships don't need my fueling, politeness, friendly visits, and I don't need makeup in the morning. And things break. And I will not accumulate. After the storm, I was not the same. More bona fide. So I'm going for a PhD.
All right.
Because it just doesn't matter anymore whether I'm smart enough or have time enough or I'm sort of old for this or have too many responsibilities or children. I'm going. And the only time is now. That's how I think after the storm.
All right.
Lines intersecting my life, piercing my being. Lines at the gas station, gouging my funds. Lines in the traffic, lines at the Red Cross, crucifying my dignity. The snaking around the block food stamps line. Refugee, don't cross that line. I fence in my rage, and I civilly remind the civil servant that Louisiana is a part of the United States. And Ms. Evacuee to you. Can't get through on the telephone lines, but did learn to text a message a line or two. Orange jumpsuited, shackled OPP prisoners in a jagged line, stumbling up the ramp of the USS Superdome. And when I came back, the water lines, marking buildings, letting you know where the water stayed for days. The spray-painted X's made by intersecting lines, holding the coded messages. The amorphous mildew stain line, lining the ceiling and the sheetrocked bedroom walls. Lines marching in my memories. Rigid, thoughts piercing, swaying, butt-jumping, vibrating lines. Lines becoming supple and curvy. Lines softening and forming a circle of women dancing on the levee, twirling umbrellas of strength, dignity, beauty, and self-love. Circling, 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 soaring and rising to a place of release, power, and peace. Those of us who didn't fly walked on water.
You came through. You listened. You knew me in college and somehow found my number. And you asked, where can I send to you? And you sent blankets and clothes and DVDs and books and toys. Your friends did as well.
You came through with a brown suede jacket. You didn't try to convert me. You just acted Christian.
You came through, Vincent Sylvain, connecting an entire community. Oh, you came through, Ashé Cultural Arts Center. You got me 315. You came through, Ashé Cultural Arts Center. You got me 15 paid bookings at open mic poetry readings.
You made me evacuate, and you gave me hypertension medication when I didn't have a prescription.
You sent African clothes because you knew I liked them.
You just gave me the key. You saw my license plate and you left a note on the car offering help.
You came through, a stranger in a grocery line, paying for my sausage biscuit. You came through. You took me in with my 2 dogs, my 2 children, and all of my issues.
You looked into your medicine cabinet.
And you thought what you didn't need, and you sent it to us. You made this black Catholic appreciate Presbyterians.
You were my boss, and you raised enough money amongst your circle so we could buy a car to replace the flooded one.
You came through. You wrote me a card, even though I had never met you. You told me about a difficult time you had and told me you were praying for me.
You came through. I wasn't expecting it. It held me up.
It held us all up.
And I know that I survived this and am thriving because you came through.
New Orleans is home.
New Orleans is a place where people say good morning, how you do, and are willing to start random conversations with you, even if you are a stranger.
New Orleans is a place where you can make friends on every morning bus ride.
New Orleans is a place where century-old rituals have survived.
New Orleans is a place where your departure from this life is punctuated with ritual and notice.
New Orleans is a place where folks are not afraid to take their time.
And we do sing with soul.
Ooh, that's right. We got that
Down in
soul.
New Orleans, we got that soul. Down in New Orleans, we got that soul. Flowering red beans and eggs to say. Baby's bucks jumping on Mardi Gras Day. Big chief and big queen caught the train. Flag boys, five boys doing the same. Down in New Orleans, we got that soul. Down in New Orleans, we got that soul.
I'm running my mojo coming through. I'm gonna stack half the set on you. Gumbo, yaya, luka, ooh. I'm talking about culture news.
Down in New Orleans, we got that soul. Down in New Orleans, we got that soul.
9184742, Good Time Trip, and Lakeview. Uptown, downtown, Rocktown crew. She shattered souls to Timbuktu.
Down in New Orleans, we got that soul. Down in New Orleans, we got that soul.
I keep the time like a juju drum. Doesn't bring me home. And I want from the morning dew to the setting sun. We won't rest till the battle's won.
Down in New Orleans, we got that soul. Down in New Orleans, we got that soul. Down in New Orleans, we got that soul. Down in New Orleans, we got that soul.
You know, you don't think of your neighbors as people you miss, but, because they're just there, you know? Right there. Even if they move away, they ain't far. Might go uptown, downtown, back of town, front of town, but when you see them, they're still passing by and on their way to someplace else. Usually, somebody from the family always stay around. And you know, and a lot of folks know how to keep up with their people. But now, child, things can change. I mean, it ain't as bad as it was right after, but nothing like before. You know, before, all the people from around here was together, a lot of children, you know, but that's who mostly gone, the children. The children and the old folks, like my age, they like, no, I look good. How do you think I look?
45.
Oh, boy.
No, 67.
No, indeed, child. I just made 81. Wow. Ah, you're good, huh? Yeah. I know, but child, but you see most of the folks like my age, they going from around here now. Yep. A lot of them died, and a whole lot of them going off. They just all over the place, in nursing homes or on strangers' couches, in their kinfolks' basements. But like I say, baby, we old, so that ain't no big deal to us. You know, suffering is a quiet matter. Just part of your life. Nothing to get all worked up about. I ain't even been back to work yet. Down on my job. Though, baby, they love me over there. Yes, they do. Always talking about how I keep up good cheer. That's the one thing all them rich white ladies in the powder room always ask me. And baby, you know, you gotta be rich to eat here. Over there at Mr. C's place. And they always say, child, how come you so happy? Whenever we come here, you in a good mood. And you put us in a good mood. I tell them, you in New Orleans, child. Ain't you in here from outside? Huh? You ain't seen them blue skies and feel that good warm air? Smell them gardenias and jasmine by the front door? Don't you have a home or a hotel or someplace to stay you just come from, huh? And ain't you about to enjoy a good meal? Get waited on hand and feet. how come you ain't happy? And they go on telling me about some things, how they just so complicated. Complex, that's the word they like to use. And I listen to them and I try to sympathize because I do believe everybody got a right to their problems and sorrow. But usually, I can't understand what they so perplexed over. They ain't got nothing to do with happiness, honestly. Sometimes they just get on my nerves. And they just offend me. And they ask me about my joy, like I ain't supposed to have none. Since they ain't got none. Or like, oh, I must be crazy to be so happy. Since as far as they can see, I ain't got nothing. That's part of why I ain't bugging. I'm just not in the mood to be around folks who don't know what breathing. But it's just enough. Breathing is just enough. I know that much, especially after the flood. So for a while, baby, for a couple of more weeks, I'm just gonna sit out here on my porch. Make sure to catch my neighbors when they come by. Find out where they been and where they going and with whom. Just listening to you, child. Never really like to talk too much, me, myself. These stories got enough in them to speak for themselves.
You know, I heard someone say the other day that pleasure is the absence of pain. That thought was utterly heartbreaking, because I knew that if that is true, then black folks here in New Orleans ain't never experienced pleasure. Shit, maybe not in this whole country, but here, I know for sure. It's like our pain is built into the way they do things in our city. It's in the laws, which means it's in the business and the politics. It's definitely in the policing. It's in the housing. It's in the hospitals, the schools. It's even in the parks and grocery stores. It's not the same. It's in the streets. It's like on the streets. Should they just started taking down monuments to the institution of our pain? I mean, think about it, really think about it though. Everything that we know and walk around with every day. Like they talk about systemic, but on a personal level, every day in our daily small walk is filled with violence and indignities, big and small. That we can't even react to them all, because if we did, all we'd be doing is reacting. So we have to take and do something with it, because, well, if we didn't, all we'd be doing is explode and implode. So we be dancing. We be painting, cooking, sewing, blowing horns, composing, sculpting, singing, masking, rhyming. But not me no more. I don't really write poems no more. Too many numbers in my head. Some days I think I'm a statistician, believe it or not. Since I clicked out that day at City Hall over them $4,000 15 years ago, I started working there. I mean, I was about to have a baby by myself. Yes, I did. So I needed a better job. So I guess I gathered myself off of that counter. I politely put in an application at the permit office because shit, they was rude anyway. And I believe it or not, I got it. I got the job. And at first I was just kind of like grateful to be there and learn something new and, you know, be in the halls and wear heels to work kind of thing. But after I was there for a while, the things I started learning just disturbed me. Like, first of all, that like everybody who work here, like when you think about City Hall, like you think of people different from you, is separate in a way, but everybody who work here live here. Why y'all forget your neighbors when y'all walk in this building? I don't understand. That's something to come back to. But I think it's because they don't remember their neighbors, that these numbers are possible. You know, like, they really do already know that when they do something, that it's going to have a bad impact on us. But they do an analysis, they call it cost benefit. And when they weigh the cost that we pay against the benefits, well, let's just say our cost is nothing to their benefits. In my neighborhood, we are 19% of the population of the city, but we make up 42% of the workforce. That's because people have to have 2 and 3 jobs to make it. And we can't get to the better paying jobs, you know, a little further out, because 44% of us don't have access to transportation. We are 68% of the entire population of the city. We get 2% of the business receipts. And when I learned the numbers, like, that makes sense. I can see that all around me, you know. Because we be having businesses, but baby, they don't be making it. Not like everybody else's do. We make only about $18,000 a year for hotels that make $10 billion a year. We are 100% of what makes New Orleans not the rest of America. But we have a 25-year difference in life expectancy in my neighborhood. But the numbers probably gonna go up now because my neighbors mostly gone. And let's not even talk about this new numbers I have to deal with, these COVID numbers, this 3 times the rate of death. 3 times for our folks. We 75% of the deaths here in Louisiana, and only 30% of the population, 32, something like that. I try to be precise with my numbers, but sometimes a point or a half off. The only thing killing us faster than the COVID is the police. That's why I made the real hard decision to send little D to New York. Once he decided he was gonna be a musician like his dad, I was like, oh baby, you can't stay here. I can't let this city chew you up and spit you out like they did the man I love. Nah. So he went to New York to learn how to play music. And though the fact of the matter is he had more knowledge about music in his pinky finger than his professors, but what they taught him was how to be respected as a musician. They taught him how to get good contracts for his work and get representation, and he got benefits. And my baby be at the Lincoln Center, he be on Broadway, he be all over, baby. And when he travel, he get per diems and good flights, and they fly his equipment. I like these musicians around here hustling for gigs and stuff like that, and even when they travel, they don't get enough money. Oh no, baby, not my tea. I know his daddy looking down at him, smiling. He's him calling me now. That's why the phone buzzing. He want me and his little sister to come out there. Yes, I did have Melody. And I'm so glad I did. She looked just like her daddy. And it was hard doing it without him. But I know he wouldn't have it any other way. And when I look at our babies, I know they're gonna change the city. These young people, they're not putting up with a lot of the stuff we did. So I'm letting them lead. And I'm just sitting in the back feeding them these numbers. So when they're out in the streets, I'm making sure they get food, I'm making sure they get bail, and I'm making sure they know these numbers. So Lil D trying to get me to come to New York. It's 2 hurricanes coming. Can you believe that? 2 hurricanes about to hit us same time as Katrina. 15 years later. Can you believe that? I can believe that. Because God be talking. But I can't go. You know, since I started doing this community stuff, the old neighbors, the few that's left, they be looking for me, you know, to make sure they get services, make sure, you know, they can call their people, make sure they can use the computer, you know, need somewhere to go with a generator, connect them to the food, whatever, you know. But that's another number. 50% of us never came back after Katrina. And for every 1,000 of us that were displaced, we were replaced with 328 white folks, 54 Latinx folks, and 13 Asian folks. And I mean, I kind of like that. Like, you know, I like the people coming to the neighborhood, but it's still room for us. Why is there no room for us? It's a lot of empty buildings, a lot of luxury stuff popping up. Why is there no room for us? Even at City Hall.
Trials and tribulations bringing us down. Something's always wrong and that ain't right, but it's real. My daddy told me something many years ago, keeps me strong, holding on, hold on to love. Love all your people, cause you're supposed to. They ain't gonna come in vain, child, so you got to remain on the path to freedom for all human beings. Each and every one child and love be your guide, and you'll never go wrong. You got to hold on, hold on, hold on. You gotta hold on to love, so it's swimming upstream.
Hold on, be strong,
Yeah,
do what you got.
it's swimming upstream.
Time rains, change
Swimming
it, season,
swimming upstream.
make it better.
Yeah,
It's up to me.
it's swimming upstream.
Say we gotta
gonna